This is the Unlistenables, bitch.
You can't say bitch.
We could say bitch. It's not like we're getting monetized. The last episode, we opened with a circumcision tutorial so that the folks at home could learn how to do it themselves.
Yeah,
I think we're
That's
chilling.
fair. That's fair.
We're all adults here.
All right, compared to the last episode, which, hey, we're staying true to our name. It was very fucking unlistenable, but we actually thought we would we'd try and at least make a good episode.
You gotta get through the first episode to get to the actual content. We're doing comment review, right?
Are we?
I that's what you told me. I'm only going off based on
Already
what you told me.
topics.
Discombobulated. Oh
We've
yeah.
already fucked it. All right, let's scrap this shit.
Oh, we gotta keep it going. We're already
No,
like 3, 2, 1.
I'm looking at so many great Alex Lennon hate comments. I can't find any in my comment section.
Oh, let me share the thing with you guys so you kind of know what we're doing. So we thought we'd actually have a proper list of topics that aren't just bullshit, aren't removal of foreskin, they aren't coffee cake muffins. We're gonna have an actual list of topics of substance, and the first being, how did we all get started with YouTube?
Mullet Man Comics, I'm putting you on the spot. You're on the far end of the table. Bruh's got nothing to fucking say.
Kieran?
Oh my god, is he dead? I feel like, okay, anybody who doesn't know who we are, I feel like would get confused by this. Mullet is supposed to be the pig, right? Alex is the guy in the middle of the table. I am the guy on the far left.
Yeah.
And our political opinions are just like this. Mullet is a staunch Republican. He loves Trump, all right?
Is that true?
Mullet, stay silent if it's true. Bruh. Oh my goodness.
What are we gonna do? Wait, does that make me a centrist? that's arguably worse, actually.
The centrist is always the guy that's like, I don't know, maybe we should do the Nazi stuff. I don't know.
I can't tell these groups apart, man. All right, should we how about we start with you, Kai?
I always wanted to be a YouTuber when I was a little kid. I watched like a lot of Minecraft YouTubers, and honestly at that point I just emulated whatever I saw other YouTubers doing. Like I would play Minecraft, and then I
Did you film the TV screen? Did you do the?
Yes,
that's like a
at
classic,
one point.
like where you're like,
but it
hey
wasn't.
Guys, and then you've got like the like out of focus.
I did it with a
recording of
3DS. I put my 3DS on top of a bunch of books, and I was playing Minecraft on my fucking family computer. And then I grew up and I was like, dude, this shit's not gonna work. Like I'm not gonna be able to do YouTube as a living. I'm just gonna give up. And I had a Spider-Man channel, and that channel started to get more attention, and then I was like, oh fuck, people actually like this content. And then,
so when was this?
This was, I think this was maybe like 3-4 years ago now. And I didn't have like a big blow up moment. I think my channel has always been one that slowly built up over time.
It's so weird because we're the like polar opposite in terms of our like success, I guess, in air quotes. You said you accumulated like growth over time. So you were able to like kind of like learn how it worked, whereas I blew up overnight, meaning I went from about 20 views on a video to like 100,000 within maybe 24 hours, which was like oh, Kieran,
there the fuck he is, bro. The MAGA Man Comics.
In your absence we decided you're MAGA, by the way.
What the fuck?
Yeah, sorry.
No, you gotta watch it back to know what we're saying.
True.
Yeah.
Wait, so you always knew that you were gonna be like somebody who talked about comics?
I wouldn't say so. I would say because this is a running joke between me and Owen Likes Comics, that he like created me, his own enemy, his own greatest enemy. We like, because the only reason I made a video, in the first place was because I was a fan of his. And I wanted him to cover, I think I wanted him just to talk about Ultimate Spider-Man or something, something I wanted him to cover. And I would always comment, be like, "Hey, Owen, please, can you cover this shit?" And he'd be like, he would just obviously, because when you're a YouTuber, you ignore pretty much all the comments, as in you don't respond to them. All of them.
You just fuck those commenters.
Yeah, dude, peasants. And I was like, I had the Thanos moment where I was like, fine, I'll do it myself. And so I like ordered this really shitty, I think it was like a £17 microphone. I made like maybe 2 or 3 videos, not expecting to get any views. I was just making them for myself, and yeah, I kind of just left them online for like a year, and then I just came back like one day. I came back one day and was like, hey, this has got like 100 views now, holy shit. And then the next 24 hours it had like 100,000, and I was like, oh my fucking god.
What if Alex Lennon never remembered his password?
I'm saying.
I think I might have been an Alex Lennon fan before I even was a YouTuber too.
What? Is this true?
Yes, I think I watched your videos before mine, because I know I said 4 years ago, but it may have been 3. But I remember watching your videos before being a YouTuber at all. And I think once you got to the point where you were talking about Speedball, I think that's when my Speedball started rolling.
that was the one for me. That was the one that like really, it took me from like, I don't know, I think it was like 5-10k to about 50k, and it was like, oh, okay, this is like an actual thing that is sustainable. But yeah, again, the Speedball one was another one that I just expected no one to watch, because I was very wary of the what I like to call the Godzilla Mendoza curse, which, and he would agree. This is Godzilla Mendoza. He's another YouTuber, and he hates to be called a Spider-Man YouTuber. But unfortunately, through algorithmic means, his Spider-Man videos, which he is so tired of making, tend to do really well, like on the algorithm, and then all the other stuff that he's actually passionate about doesn't do as well. And there's a clear like gap in his if you look through his videos, like there's a gap in views between Spider-Man video, lots of views, other video that he actually cares about. Well, I'm sure he cares about his Spider-Man videos as well, but it's just like I had that in my so vivid in my mind of like, okay, I want to
Bean time.
If the well, yeah, but I want to avoid this as much as possible. I don't just want to make Spider-Man videos forever. I want to say early on, this isn't a Spider-Man channel, don't get used to it, but I still will make Spider-Man videos. And that Speedball video was part of that, where I was like, okay, fuck it, you know what, it's good just to set the rules early. I'm gonna make a Speedball video. If no one watches it, it's fine. But I'm just establishing I'm not a Spider-Man channel.
Right, but I feel like you kind of changed it a bit. You changed up the game by like.
I changed the game. Yeah, that's like, quite bold to say.
No, but like I don't mean to cut you off, but I feel like you did kind of bring something that not a lot of people were like. They didn't think that they could do, which was just like be themselves and be sincere in like the way that they are like, yeah, I like this character because of this, and this, and not like a top 10, you know.
I get what you're saying, not to glaze, but I would turn this around on you and say you actually did change the game from, and this is like we talked about this before, where it is a very generational thing in terms of comic book YouTube. There is kind of like the millennial kind of Gen X, like Web 2.0 people,
yeah,
where they've got their own kind of side of YouTube, and this was their town for the longest while, right? They were in charge, kind of, or they kind of dominated the market, and there's a very big distinction between those guys and then us, which is more like Gen Z, kind of like we've grown up on YouTube since we're kids.
Yeah.
And the Gen X are kind of millennials. They're more like, they treat it like television, like it's a show, like, hello and welcome to fucking the Comic Corner, or you know. And that is it is very, very charming and very, you know, that's got its own place on YouTube, and it is very nice to watch. Whereas what a lot of people do now, like in our generation, is kind of like treating it like a, you know, just a bit like a diary, or a bit like it's just, there's no like persona, this is just, you know, hey man, you know, it's me, you know, it's Alex, I'm just going to talk about this fucking thing.
It's just like, you're just expressing like an affinity for a certain like character.
But then here's where you come in, which is you, I think, were the first person, because you can tell the difference between these two groups in the title and thumbnails, like the presentation.
Because Comic Historian and like Comics Explained would have like like a character. Yeah, you're exactly right. Like they'd have a character on the side and like their account image on like the corner, and then like text in the like middle or something. Like
yeah, and because those guys were like, you know, the biggest guys in that space, that was kind of the standard, right, among these guys.
Yeah.
And I think you came in because I actually looked, and I think you were one of the first people to do this. It was the more kind of basic, like kind of minimalist, you know, comic panel, and then like I don't know, Hulk gets eaten by fucking Carnage or so, you know, yes, something like that. And you can slowly see over. I think it was 2021 or something. Over that year, these other kind of, you know, millennial Gen X or Web 2.0 people trying to like obviously not copy you because it's such a simple style and you can't really claim that kind of style, but they're clearly trying to ape like your
the essence
success
of it.
with that.
Yeah.
Of like just the simplicity, and you can see that kind of trying to take over. That them trying to kind of take that over and be like, oh my god, these kids are like are getting like double the views for just this bullshit thumbnail that's just like.
You know what was funny like during that time, because like I remember like when I started doing it and I started seeing like numbers on the videos, like they weren't breaking like 1 million views or anything. Like they would probably get like maybe 50K, and like to me like that is like still like an achievement, like to get like a view like that. But I remember like when I was just starting, I was starting to get like views like that, and people would go in the comments, and it was kind of like in the uproar of like the fucking not the uproar, but it was like the beginnings of the AI shit, like when people would type in ChatGPT and then like drag it to like a voice thing. Dude, I remember getting comments of people being like, thank you for doing all the work, now I'm gonna steal your content and stuff.
Well, isn't it? We found, I think it was both me and you, Kieran. We found our videos uploaded by this guy who takes them and dubs them in Spanish.
Yeah,
it's just the entire video. But I'm like, whatever, man. It's got like 50 views. I don't.
Yeah.
You're really not trying.
But
You're not impacting me.
But there used to be people that would just shamelessly copy like my like entire thing and then like upload the video like literally the same, just with a different voice. Like that was AI. Like. I just, oh my god, that was such a terrible time. Yeah, it was awful.
Soulless. Although I do want to say, right, because I know starting off the podcast with a conversation about like, oh, and then I got this amount of views, and then yeah, dude, I started getting like 1 million. You know, I think it is very important to keep in mind. This is where a lot of YouTube channels go wrong. Is that they're so focused on views, and you can't blame them, because you know it's the classic thing of you go into YouTube Studio and you see the 1 out of 10 or like the whatever, and it gives you a dopamine hit, and then when your next video gets like 7 out of 10, doesn't get as much views, you're like, oh my god, I need the fucking views, right? Views are like crack, right? They make you like bipolar. It's fucking crazy. But like, so yeah, I don't blame YouTubers. You're incentivized to get views, and you're gonna feel bad when you don't get views. But I feel like people mistake like or they prioritize short-term like view gains and like boosts in like the algorithm compared to like long-term consistency. And this is why, you know, I think, you know, Leo from Implicitly Pretentious is one of my good friends. He is such a good example of this, in that he sacrificed views short-term by purposely naming his videos just bullshit, like utter shite, like diarrhea. He's got one video on, I think it's Avatar, The Last Airbender, and he just calls it diarrhea as a feeling, right? And you could say like, what's he doing, right? Like what? Surely a few changes if you to kind of appeal to the masses, and you get like double the views. But because he's like set up this kind of standard for himself to be like, look, I'm gonna do what I want. I don't give a fuck, right? There's a guaranteed small but dedicated group of people, well I say small, it's like fucking 50 to 100k or whatever, that are guaranteed to watch all of his stuff because they know it's really good. And the people who are subscribing and clicking and liking are people who are genuinely invested in it. They're not just passers-by who, because that's not what you want. You don't want people to subscribe to you on a whim, to be like, watch a video of yours that went viral and go, yeah, well, this guy's pretty cool, and then subscribe, and then never watch like any of your other videos. You want them to subscribe and watch because they want to. And when you don't have that, you feel the effects of it, where, you know, you've got like 1 million subscribers, and then you make a video that gets 20,000 views, and you're like, guys, have I been shadow banned? That's the thing, people talk about, I've been shadow banned. Like, dude, no one just wants to watch your stuff. Like, shadow banning isn't really a thing. I don't think.
It's like a huge form of copium. It's like I've gone through that.
Like, dude, fucking Instagram or YouTube or whatever isn't trying to suppress your stuff, right? They're not this isn't some government conspiracy, right? Mm-hmm. You did kind of fall off. If you had that consistency and that brand loyalty, or that, like, you know, dedicated people who have subscribed and they're there because they want to, and they haven't been coerced into you guilting them into subscribing or tempting them somehow through a flashy thumbnail or whatever. Mm-hmm. If you have that kind of built in and slowly built up, you're chilling. It's only up from there, or at least just flat, like consistent.
I definitely like have been in that like little pit of like, damn, I've been fucking shadow banned, man, like fucking sweating bullets, like just fearful, because I'm like, oh my god, because like it's kind of like a tragedy when you like work on a video. Like, and I'm saying this like past tense, like maybe a year ago, I remember like working on videos because I was like moving into a new apartment, and at that time I was really fucking like jumbled and everything was out of whack. And I remember like posting videos like maybe every week or two and being like, dude, nobody's watching my content anymore, man. I gotta be fucking shadow banned. And then I watch them and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, I'm just ass. Like, that's why. Like, it's just dog shit. Because I watched like some of them, and I remember they were like 5 minutes long, and they were just simply like, you could tell like they were made in like a few days because like of the stress of like, oh my god, my life is like completely out of whack right now. Yeah. So then I remember like taking a month and just going to the fucking drawing board, and I'm like, all right, I gotta change up the game. And I remember I made like a video just about how much I loved not Reverse Flash like Eobard Dawn, but it was Professor Zoom. And I remember that video like did really well, and that was like the first time I ever did like I think it was like 30 minutes long. And I remember just seeing it and being like, oh my god, yeah, it's just me. That's all it is. I'm like, and I think when you do YouTube, sometimes you can be like your own worst enemy. And that was especially a time when it was like, I didn't have anybody to like, nobody in like the same field like I do now with you guys, where I could be like, oh, does this make sense? Does this work? So that was even more, I think, of a pressure compared to now.
People respond well to quality, you know, because like quality does kind of supersede like everything else almost, where it's like you'll have homophobic people who are like, well, yeah, but Elton John's pretty good though, like I don't like, he's allowed, you know what I'm saying? Like, people genuinely hold quality over it blinds them to so many other things. Mm-hmm. And so you don't want like a Mr. Beast thumbnail, right? You don't want to sell yourself too much and be like, well, the craziest comic book you've never seen before, and it's like, and then like, because that just gets old quickly, and you know,
you
come
need
back to the
kid
consistency
tries
thing.
Not to get eaten.
that's your best video, but like that will hurt your kind of consistency, where it's like, oh, this person isn't true to themselves. They aren't like authentic and
there was a fucking video I was watching last night that like was kind of the perfect example. I don't want to say any names because I don't want drama on this like podcast, but the hint is like, there's a YouTube channel that's like excellent, and he PNGs himself like into video game footage. And he'll do it.
Guys,
in like
look this up right now. Look this up right now.
Look it up.
You mean like Nakey Jakey style?
Kind of. Like Nakey Jakey has his own way of like doing it, where it's like he'll be on like a yoga ball, and he'll like be floating and doing all these different effects, and that's entertaining in itself the way he does it, because that's his way of doing it. This guy, like, he'll PNG himself, and he'll do the lighting, and he'll do any effect he can to make it look like he's literally in the game, and it's like, I don't even know how he's able to do it, but it's impressive the way that he pulls it off. And then I was watching a new channel that has like, I think 11K, and they're like kind of riding off the coattails of that essence of that channel by like making the intro themselves like PNG'd in the game. But it's like very clearly like not like, there's no, I don't want to say it like in a way that it's like rude. Yeah, like he does it, and it's like, okay, yeah, like that's cool for the intro, and then like after the intro you just see the decline in quality and effort. Like there's no more shading, there's no more like him doing positions or sitting in different seats and doing all these different things. It's literally just him like standing in the fucking video, and it's like, Okay, man, like, what are we, I don't know. And then he just recites to you the entire, like, lore of the game, like, as if, and I said it to my friends, before I even clicked on the video, because I was aware of the channel. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to watch a video of a guy PNG'd over gameplay of a game and just recite to you the entire story when you can just play it.
I can't wait to see what the footage on the green screen behind us is going to be for this section.
Yeah. Oh no.
Call him out. Put it up. Put it on the screen. Put it on the screen. I want drama.
Oh, but I think even worse is like, because I guess it's like it's nice. It's a form of flattery because it's like, oh,
yeah, exactly.
I love it.
There's a difference though. There's a difference between like being derivative of someone's style and then like outright copying. Because like when I see like people who are kind of aping my kind of thumbnails or like style, I mean I don't really have a style, but you know you can tell when someone's very clearly trying to like ape you a little bit.
Yeah, 100%.
I see that as flattering. Like I'm like totally like. I'm not threatened at all by that because like why would you be? It is really cool that like someone saw your work or whatever and was found so much value in that they were like, I need to do that for my own stuff.
I feel bad when I feel bad when people do that to me. Not because like I feel bad because like, oh, they're copying me. I feel bad when it's like I'm your guy. Yeah. I feel bad for those guys. I'm like, dude, you couldn't copy like Todd McFarlane or like somebody who has actual talent or skill. Like, why me? You gotta expand your library.
They love you, Kai. That's why.
No.
Fucking speaking of comic creators though, do you not think? And this I'm guilty of this myself, right? But do you not think that comic YouTube creators, they're just retelling the story or they're putting emphasis on themselves and it feels like they get more what's the word, glory than the comic creators themselves, like the writers and the artists. And especially with these like AI videos where it's just like saying, oh, this is the time Daredevil did this and like, you know, all that. And often, yeah, the people who actually made that possible, like the art you're seeing on the screen, they often get like fucked because they're not often. I think, and I felt kind of guilty about like making money from my channel and stuff because I'm kind of just making money off the back of someone else who is definitely not getting paid nearly as much as me. You know, when one of my videos go like viral and stuff, and I think what I'm trying to do, and I know you guys have talked about this, but I know Kieran's talked about this as well, is not only try and make it transformative, but if I can try to like. It's annoying because you don't want to seem like you're a shill, like you're paid by Marvel or DC or whatever to be like, guys, go buy these comics or whatever. But I think I would like to see a lot of like comic YouTubers kind of do their part almost to send people to actually read for themselves and help these like comic creators who aren't getting paid as much as these like YouTubers who are just recapping. Hey, we're all guilty of recapping.
Yeah.
And it's so easy. It's so easy to kind of fall into that where you're writing about like, I love this character because of this and then here's a story where he does this and then all of a sudden I've got 3 paragraphs of just recounting the plot with no like added details. And there's a fine line because like I think plot summary is valuable definitely in some places, and like you said, Kieran, you even if some of your videos do have a lot of plot summary, you're trying to frame it in a way of like you are passionate about this character or these stories, and you want to you're just trying to share that with people.
Like for the Maker video, that I think there was a lot of recapping for that, but it was to like give you like ammunition, if that's the right word, to like understand like why this character became like who he is now. Like. I don't think, if it's over a long period of time, like if it's like the Maker video covers what, like 10, 15 years of stuff. It covers like literally 20 years of like of Reed Richards in the Ultimate Universe to like the present day, like in an hour and a half. And like, keep in mind, like I think 30 minutes was just the Ultimate Fantastic Four. And I didn't even go over like everything. I think I was literally summing up like I was recapping maybe like a few things like for 5 minutes, and then the rest was just explaining the characters and like their motivations, like what makes them tick, like what they're like, you know, how they function in society, like like comparatively to like 616, like and then I would start going back into summing up like the next arc, like I think,
which is very valuable.
Yeah.
When a lot of like current comics are the foundation of them, and like all the different like all like the lore and the references and all that require you to like have read like 20 years of comics or something. So when it's like a character who's been around for so long, you do kind of, and that's how I justify my entire history of, and like my entire history of, for the most part, is just a recap. But I'm like, it's a recap over like 80 years of a character's history, and I see it more as, that's like impossible for you to go and read yourself like quite quickly. I think if it's an entire video dedicated to like one single issue, and you're just recapping the plot of an issue beat by beat for 20 minutes, it's like, dude, you could, I could just read this myself.
If that's like, that's like the level of like, that's what I like think is like evil recapping, I'll call it that. Like if you're just panel to panel to panel to panel to panel,
and you can appreciate that like a lot of people can't afford comics, right? And you know, videos like Comic Storian's videos, and his videos that have like 10 million views on the Injustice and Infinity War and all that, right? Those are very valuable in that so many people, that was like a gateway to comics, to be like, they couldn't afford them at first.
They did a lot too, man.
He did a ton. Like, and you know, even James Gunn was like, you know, when Comic Storian passed away, even James Gunn was like acknowledging, like, yeah, he was a very good. He was a valuable.
Betty got acknowledged by James Gunn?
I'm pretty confident that happened. I'll need to put on the screen. You can edit on the screen. I'll send you the proof. If not, was I telling the truth or not? Is that misinformation? But I'm pretty sure that's true.
I owe a lot to that dude for like literally like his coverage on like the Marvel stuff, because I remember like all my friends in fucking elementary school, like when the Avengers film and like all the other solo films were coming out, they were like they would just, like talk shit about it, and then I'd be like that one kid with the glasses, like actually, and it's like all my
it's much better in the comics.
Upon. Yeah, like all of it was like, granted, like my grandmother would take me to the comic shop and like be like, here's $20, like you pick out like anything you want, and I'd pick out like the covers that like look cool, and then sometimes I'd be very disappointed like with the art inside of it, which I quickly learned was like you have to look inside of it before you buy it, and you have to also be like interested. But I remember being that kid being like that everyone would come to and be like, oh, like what's gonna happen in the next movie, because like it would get announced and all that. But I remember like if I couldn't like find like, let's say Infinity War, I would go to Comic Historian, and I would Comic Historian, and I would like watch like the whole event and like the narration and shit, and just get so like immersed in it. He did a fantastic job. R.I.P.
Yeah, and because comics are such an expensive hobby, if you want to like,
oh my god, yeah, it's terrible.
Because like there will be multiple series. I mean, X-Men's probably the worst offender, I think, or maybe 100%. Even Batman. I don't know, with like the whole Bat family or something. But the comics are very expensive if you want to keep up with like a particular universe or storylines that cross over into different titles or whatever. And so especially when you're a kid, you just pick your one character, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna collect this. You know, I'm gonna collect Spider-Man. I'll collect Amazing Spider-Man. Maybe like another title or whatever. But like, you know, because month to month with these monthly titles, it's very fucking expensive if you get like multiple at the one time. And I think you know, obviously these kind of videos, if you're collecting an individual character and then they cross over into this event and you've no idea what the events, or you don't have the context to the event or something, these kind of videos are very good.
Dude, that's why I love Daredevil, man. Daredevil like is not in any fucking events like ever,
because it's like, what would he do?
Yeah,
just like do a backflip.
The reading order for him was so like, I thought it was gonna be complicated as fuck. because I looked at Cyclops' reading order and it was just like a fucking nightmare. But then I looked at Daredevil's, comparing it, and I'm like, oh man, like this, like that's diarrhea compared to like a fucking like a chocolate sundae. Like I don't know how to make it make sense like metaphorically, but like his story is like kind of like Invincible's. It's just like a fucking straight line, like all the way through. You never have to like read events or anything.
That's why the appeal of these kind of videos, these like narration videos that do just kind of retell the stories.
Yeah.
One of the appeals is that like it's just the simplicity of, especially if it's like a big event or a character's history or whatever, is, you know, would you rather look at the reading order and try to read it for yourself, and it's like, oh my god, especially, well, I mean, we're talking about the recent like X-Men stuff, and like, oh my god, trying to figure out all the different titles to read, and like, okay, you read issue 1 to 6 here, and then you go to a different book and read issue 4 there, and then you need like the omnibus for and it's like
100%.
It's worth it in the end when you read it, but like to a casual fan or someone who's not even really into comics, like it can be so off-putting. So having it all like kind of collated in this one video where the person's making sense of it all and bringing all these things, it's like, okay, there's a definite appeal to that. I think then there is a difference though between this kind of mindless recap where you can tell the person doesn't really, it's not like I really want to tell you about this really cool event and all these, and I want you to make sense of it, so then you can go read these other comics yourself. Like you can tell when it's not that, and it's just like, hey everyone, so here's just you know, fucking beat for beat what this is. I think there's what really annoys me, and again, I dislike this so much because I'm guilty of this myself in the past. But there's like you know, the brand of video essay, right? Where it's like, oh, here's a video essay about this, and then it's like a 50-minute just plot summary. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, but particularly with like TV shows or movies and stuff, it's like, okay, you're like, with a comic, it is kind of transformative because it is a very like still thing that you're kind of bringing to life, be it like with effects or motion or even voice actors. But like with a TV show or movie that is it's already a moving image, you're just kind of making it worse because you're just talking over the scenes, and given the length of some of them, it's like, okay, I could just watch the show instead. Yeah. Like what you're not selling me on it, or you're not giving me a good idea or an alternative like view on it, or like a way to think about it. You're like making the show, you're replacing the show's function for me. And that you are essentially now the show for me, but worse. And I'm like,
that's
there's just so many video essays where it's like...
That's like what I try to fight against, is like, if I ever read like anything that I write and it sounds like that, I'm like, oh god, I have to like go back to the drawing board and fix it because it's not right.
And I think me and you at least have both got better at that, trying to be more transformative.
I literally say in any... I put a reading order in my descriptions. I kind of fumble.
That's what I'm trying to do as well. I'm trying to do that.
And I'll put them like at the end of like if it's a huge video, like for like the Maker, like Red Hood or the Daredevil video coming out, like I'll put like a credits of like literally like everything that I had to read to like put it. And some of the stuff doesn't even appear in it. Like I don't even address it. It's just I just make sure to put it all in, and like if I'm ever recapping an arc, I just make sure to like make sure that it's like at most like 5 minutes, and then I'll give my thoughts and I'll talk about like what's going on with all the characters, like why everything is happening, like to make it make sense. And then I'll literally be like, after doing that, I'll be like, I'm literally summing this up, and I'm kind of like, you need to read it for yourself to like experience like the actual like the feeling of the moment, if that makes sense. Like I'll literally say that in every video.
Comics as a medium, it's like you read it yourself, and you read the dialogue with the voice in your head, and the art is designed for that reading experience in mind. It's like you watching it on a YouTube video, you aren't going to get the experience that the writer and artist meant for you, and so it's just kind of putting like it's like hindering you. It's like putting a little block on it. I think we've exhausted this topic. I'd say that's like a good actual serious topic. I think we could probably go to now.
Coffee cake muffins.
MCU Spider-Man bad.
Holy God! Now's my time. Now's my time.
The Spoderman hatred.
Oh my God!
So I believe the standings are: I am pro MCU Spider-Man. Kai swings anti Well, because you're about to release your Tom Holland hate propaganda video, right?
Yeah, it's coming out tonight at 7. Well, here's the thing. If any Spider-Man movie is randomly turned on, all right, like, I'm not gonna not enjoy myself, but I definitely know, or I have opinions about which movie is the best, and I do not think Tom Holland's are near the top.
Okay, so you're explicitly fuck Tom Holland.
Yeah, fuck
that's
him.
what you said, basically.
Fuck him.
Just remove all the nuance of what you just said.
Fuck that
Yeah,
guy.
You hate Tom Holland.
I hate him.
Kieran, what's your where are you at with MC Spider-Man?
Where am I at? I feel like, oh God, it's kind of like you're dipping your toes in the pool. Like, I go back and forth. Like, I don't quite like it, but then there are times when I'm watching the movie and I'm like, oh, I remember that part, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I kind of fuck with it, because I do fuck with him as a young Peter Parker. I think in a young Spider-Man, I think he pulls that off like pretty well. But like, there are certain aspects of the I think I did say earlier today that I was like, I do actually like the cavalierness of his like identity, like how he just kind of doesn't take a lot of precautions in that, and I think that's like what like a high school kid that has fucking spider powers like would be like. I don't think they'd be, because if you read like the actual material, it's like he reads like he's fucking Light Yagami, like like as Spider-Man. He's like, I have to make a fucking like reason for why I have to leave, and I have to make sure that this cupboard can hold my spider costume.
It's the secret
But I
identity
like
drama
that
gets old.
stuff.
No, I love it too. I love it too, and I love it. I'll shout out to the fucking moon, man. I'll howl to it that I love that. But I can also appreciate like a fucking teenager just not understanding like the actual consequences that he'd face, like if it were to get exposed. I was
saying earlier that the kind of lack of identity, secret identity drama in the MCU films, and him, like, you know, Nick Fury knows him, the whole Avengers know him, Mysterio finds out, like the Vulture, like, his identity is not well kept at all, and I think that is definitely a response to, like I was saying earlier, if we hadn't had 5 Spider-Man films already before that, like, yeah, you'd be like, where's the secret identity stuff? That's like a fundamental aspect of Spider-Man. Him not knowing, like him trying to hide it from his Aunt May as much as possible, and you know, all that. Yeah. And but because we've already had that, it is kind of refreshing almost to kind of just ditch the secret identity stuff and be like, you know what, fuck it, yeah, I'm Peter Parker, like whatever.
Well, here's my thing. They had an opportunity to make that stuff actually interesting, but the way, like, the kinds of videos you guys write about comic book material, like, it's very clear that you're passionate and you have emotions about what is happening in the story, but the kinds of stuff that happen in Tom Holland's movies are not, like, deeply, like, they aren't things that pull on your heartstrings. They're movies that are played off like comedies. They're not at all serious, and the chances they could take to make the things that they're doing actually emotional, right? It would be a different approach than how it was before, but we keep that same emotional standard that's always been there. Yeah. They don't take that approach. They just do it differently, and they make it a comedy, so it's not really all that serious in the first place. Therefore, it's kind of like forgettable to me. It
is like pretty lax. Like, I'll admit that. Like especially like when MJ and like Ned are like fully aware. Like I feel like when watching those movies, it doesn't have like an effect on either of them until like No Way Home. Like, there's no drama that affects.
What do you
them.
mean, like consequences?
Yeah, like I don't know.
Oh my
like,
god!
Because
what if?
Because in Spider-Man 2, it was like they didn't know he was Spider-Man. Like, they just knew they knew him as Peter, and it was like, even in that, it was like there were still like major consequences of like.
Wait, what do you mean? Like, do you mean like
with Harry and Peter, like at the fucking gala, and like MJ2 like marrying like J. Jonah Jameson's like son. Like there, like that scene is like the consequences of him being Spider-Man and not being there for either of them. Like
it's like
right
less of a duality of like Peter Parker and
yeah,
Spider-Man.
and I feel like it could have worked if like they knew he was Spider-Man. I feel like, but it just had to have like some effect.
Do you not think that would get old if they just did the same thing?
No, I
with
think
MCU Spider-Man. Like I feel like a lot of people's criticisms. I mean, they're totally valid criticisms because people's opinion. But like I think a lot of people's criticism of MCU Spider-Man kind of fail to take into account like this is the third Spider-Man reboot, or I guess second reboot, but third iteration of Spider-Man in like what 20 years, or like less than that. Yeah. They don't want to be repeating the same kind of territory.
I think they're all like
and they want to justify
their kind of 7 years apart or something like that.
Yeah. But like even with Tom Holland's one, that was like 2 years apart from Andrew Garfield's last outing.
Jeez, I didn't even.
And it was like,
wow.
And it was like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do the secret identity, and maybe we shouldn't.
Oh my
do
god,
Ben,
yeah, you're right. It really did go from Amazing Spider-Man 2 to Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah, and it was like, hey, maybe it's time for like a different take, And I think,
no, I agree with that.
Funny.
Entirely.
It's funny, Kai, that you say there's no like. You're talking about the there's no emotional. What were you saying? Like
there is no like. I don't think there's a single scene in any Tom Holland movie that will make you cry unless it's like Aunt May dying or something.
Is that not kind of reminiscent of like the old Ditko stuff?
Yeah,
because I like happy-go-lucky, and I know that Implicitly Pretentious got shit for saying it was like a sitcom, right? Where it's like the early Ditko stuff is like a sitcom kind of school / workplace drama, comedy drama, sitcom, whatever.
But I wouldn't say it's an emotionless tale.
But neither's the MCU Spider-Man, surely.
Yeah, but
you tell me when Aunt May got like absolutely murked, you weren't like, oh my god.
To be fair, I predicted that would happen on Twitter like 9 months before it came out.
Okay, so but does that have any
kind of
bearing?
Took me out of the scene.
Like you could predict that your parents are gonna die, right? So it doesn't make it any less sad.
Well, yeah, it made me cry. But I wouldn't also say that the Ditko stories are like
so made you cry.
Unemotional, because there are moments when Peter is not able to like get along with people he knows because like everyone around him can tell that there's like something that makes him isolate himself from other people, and there's this very well written sort of not like angst, but like he very clearly like tortures himself specifically so that people around him would be safer. Like that whole thing with Betty Brant where he's like, fine, you fucking go date Ned. You two are fucking perfect for each other. I hate you. And he steps out the door and he's like, oh my fucking God, dude, I hate myself. I love her, but I can't let her know that I'm Spider-Man or whatever. Like that's the kind of that's the kind of shit I want to see.
There's definitely an argument that the Tom Holland films don't really let you. I mean, there's the most notorious example of that. Aunt May finds out who he is, and then, well, in the comics, it's like an issue-long conversation that's like beautiful, and going over like their pasts and how like, oh Peter, how could you lie to me? But I'm still gonna work on accepting this. In Homecoming, it's played for like a joke, like the last like kind of funny part of the film, and then in Far From Home, it's like, oh, hey, you're Spider-Man,
we do not
cool,
care.
That's cool. That's cool. You cried though.
I cried when she died the first time I saw it.
Void of emotion, really.
I'm of two minds while I'm watching that scene. I'm damn. Marissa Tomei is dying, and then I'm also like, bro, I said they should do this on Twitter.
I feel like I'm Joey Badass right now. Where I'm like, when he says to Fantano, he's like, you cried to my album and still gave it a 7. I'm not saying...
Ned should have died.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, did they kill Ned in Homecoming? If they had the Vulture like decapitate Ned and just
they can't kill the CEO of SEC.
Towards
I think he should I think he should have just had a reason to like hate Peter by the end of the third one or something. I don't know. Something.
What, Ned?
Yeah.
I like Ned, despite how mean I am to him in my
what do you mean?
videos.
If anything, you should hate Ned because he's the most nothing character ever.
Okay,
you want to talk about like
that's
lacking
like kind of
emotion.
exactly
he
why
did it first.
I feel like
he did it first.
Because like Ned is just like there to be like the friend.
He has no
and I remember,
arc. He has no, which is fine. Which is totally fine. You can have like flat side characters like. Like that's totally fine, right?
But then
Comic
MJ
relief,
serves
whatever.
the same role, like as
that's what
Ned,
I'm saying.
pretty much. So it's like I remember when I watched Homecoming as a kid, I'm like, oh, this is gonna go wrong. And then the second movie came out, and like nothing happens. And then I'm like, okay, maybe the third one. And I remember like when he was talking to Toby's Peter about best friends or whatever, and they were like, oh yeah, they all like try to kill me. I'm like, oh, okay, like something's gonna happen in like another film, like where he'll be and just nothing fucking happens.
Let me tell you,
yeah.
Let me tell you why Ned is better. All right, nobody else could get caught jerking off in the school computer lab, bro. That's what makes him peak.
Better than who?
Everybody else,
than
honestly,
all of cinema.
They're all the same character. Like they kind of all have the same. Like all of Peter's like side characters that know he's
crazy.
Spider-Man. Like
You're
Aunt May,
deluded.
Mary Jane, Ned. Like they're all exactly the same to me. They're all interchangeable, but only one of them was so goated that he got caught jerking off in the fucking school. Okay, I'm gonna stop with that joke. Well, I mean, I don't think like they're all
you're not joking.
You're
not joking about them being all the same though. You've said this before. You're like they're basically all the same. And I'm like, really?
They don't.
I just think
really
it's more subtle.
have any like emotional shit that sets them apart. Like they don't think any differently from one another.
Okay, all right. This is also another thing that I didn't quite agree with in the direction was like Aunt May just in full support of Peter like going out as Spider-Man, and there was like no tussle with that like ever. It was just kind of like
that
accepted
did bother me,
and like moved on. There was never any like, hey, I care about you and like I don't want to see like who's practically my son like that's a teenager like fucking die fighting some stupid villain. You know, kind of like what Ultimate Spider-Man like would sort of address. I feel like that was an element that I was a little bit like surprised by when the second movie came out. It was like, oh, okay.
That does frustrate me that like wasn't addressed in the MCU. But I think because Homecoming and Far From Home are sandwiched between Infinity War and Endgame, I think like there's a clear like time has passed. Like
that's like the equivalent of like when like a new character like I'll just pull like a name like Kyle Rayner like for Green Lantern, like it's like a character like in movie sense, like if I'm going to relate it to comics, is like when they start a new run and everything's going great, like the first like 5 or so issues, and then all of a sudden there's like 7 events that happen, and like that character gets pulled into each and every one of them. It like I've seen it happen in real time, like the effects of that, where it just like makes the story like incomprehensible because like
same with the Nick Spencer run, I think.
Like
the Spider-Man run,
because he's just getting pulled in so many different directions that it's like you never really can process like anything that's happening because second that happens, like your girlfriend got fridged. Okay, well, we're gonna fight a fucking battle in the future in fucking space and fight aliens for like 3 months. Like, okay, forget about it. Like, that's sort of like the same thing that happened to Tom Holland. Was like, yeah, my identity, like you know it, but like I gotta go fight Thanos now. Bye.
I gotta die for like 5 years.
It's like,
well, here, I tell you what,
die real quick.
I would say Spider-Man Homecoming is peak cinema. I would put it at the top of my Spider-Man films list if they didn't just end with the what the fuck at the end of Homecoming and like they found some way to actually fucking squeeze that conversation into like, because a lot of Spider-Man stories just end with Spider-Man getting the short end of the stick. I think it'd be funny if Homecoming kind of ended that way, where it's like, yeah, I proved to Tony Stark that I don't need his tech to save the day, and then God fucking damn it, my aunt just found out my secret identity and our relationship is fucking... We're having a hard conversation now. I think Brown Table did a pretty good video covering this. I don't know.
Subscribe to Brown Table, basically.
I don't like how unseriously Spider-Man is taken throughout the MCU.
But
and it's
not like it's not a bug though. It's a feature. right? Like,
Yeah.
because even though I was saying, like, one of my favorite moments, and one of Kevin Feige's favorite moments, is this moment between Spider-Man and Aunt May, and it takes a while, right? And I'm kind of baffled they didn't do that in the MCU, because that would be the first time you can do that in Spider-Man's kind of cinematic history, that kind of storyline. And like, but I feel like if this happened in the Raimi films, they would have done that, because they're more like theatric, they're more like dramatic, and that kind of thing. But I think the MCU Spider-Man is very, it's on purpose kind of like lighthearted, kind of sitcom-y, like
I feel like they are comedy
that kind of
films.
Yeah, and I think that does have a place. And I think because it's intentionally that, it's not trying to be like, oh, Peter, I'm not gonna fucking talk to you for years because I found out your secret, and it's like,
but that's Spider-Man.
There's a certain level of but we already had that, and
I want more.
And I think it does kind of capture that kind of early which I think works now with this new trilogy that's going to come out, that's hopefully more kind of serious and theatrical, because it will kind of ape the just the classic Spider-Man comics, where you do have the kind of high school years with Ditko that okay, I know I shouldn't say it's like a sitcom, right? Because it isn't happy-go-lucky all the time and all that. There are definitely dramatic moments, but it's that kind of like feeling of the early Ditko comics. And then when you get to the Romita stuff, with Stanley and John Romita, it is more kind of serious, more dramatic. Peter Parker's having a fucking breakdown, and it's not like his mental turmoil feels less like a joke being played, like from the reader's perspective, and more like actually like, oh, we're with him now. We're actually, this is serious, and we really feel for him. And I think with this new trilogy, if they manage to do that and make it more like serious, I think this high school era of the trilogy, Tom Holland's trilogy, will kind of retroactively work for you. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Anyway, I'm right. Fuck you.
Wait, you met Billie Eilish? What the hell?
What did you say?
You met Billie Eilish?
Billie Eilish? What are you talking about?
No, I was okay. So, backstory. So I was listening to you, and then I was like, "I'm gonna Photoshop somebody again," and then I was like looking through your shit.
Oh, you're gonna Photoshop so you're looking through my Instagram to find a photo of me to Photoshop into some like Hitler picture or something.
And then I just stopped, and I'm like, "Is that who I think it is?" And I clicked on it, and I'm like, "That's Billie Eilish." You met Billie Eilish. That's crazy.
I did meet Billie Eilish. Yeah, we're hanging
what?
out.
Wait, are you guys memeing or are you being serious?
No, this is serious.
This is on his page.
What?
It's on my Instagram, man.
Alex is a celebrity.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she hit me up. She was like, "I'm a fan of your Spider-Man YouTube channel."
Dude, that's incredible. Why didn't you put her onto my channel, bro?
You have like
fake friend.
You have this maybe this subconscious like thing that prevents photoshopping, but you have like your hair covering like over your eyes, so that if I try to crop out your face, it just doesn't look right because the hair is like in your face. It's like the natural.
Yeah, that was my unintentional defense mechanism to your horrible, incriminating photoshopping of me. Right? We're not going into the Photoshop segment, right?
No,
because I feel
no,
that's when our previous podcast fell apart. you can measure when it all goes to shit is when we start photoshopping each other's faces.
We can't do that.
What's next on the topic list?
Are you, wait, no, but before we move on, are you being serious?
Okay.
Did you actually meet Billie Eilish? Where is she?
Yeah, this is we're just hanging out.
I just see a photo of you levitating.
What? What are you talking about?
I'm looking at Alex Lennon levitating like a proper 4 feet in the air.
Yeah, it's like the picture like after that.
Oh my goodness. Holy shit, you were not playing. God damn. Chat, this guy was not playing. I'm genuinely shocked by this. I'm trying to put her on.
I know, I totally fucking derailed the entire like argument by
just by saying Billie Eilish. I think it's I don't know.
That blew my mind.
I don't know if either of us made any good points there. If it was just complete rambling and kind of catfighting. Okay.
They'll eat it up.
We have two. If anyone's watching by now, because this is gonna be way longer. But okay, we have two. Okay, no, we have technically three topics. We all hate Spider-Man fans.
Yeah.
Talking about I guess that could work because then it kind of goes on from the MCU stuff where I'm saying if MCU is bad, right? Let's live in your deluded fantasy here where MCU is actually terrible and emotionless and you've never cried even though you have. Like, do Spider-Man fans not deserve it?
What, like, do they not deserve to have all this horrible media?
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah, honestly, I'm practicing a little bit of self-hatred right now, too, because I'd say I deserve to live in a world where my favorite character... Well, because I know so many people who have, like, their favorite, like, Glup Shido or whatever, and they have to live in a reality where their character never gets any more media because their franchise is not as popular as Spider-Man. So maybe I do deserve it.
Suffering from success.
Yeah. So I I deserve it on that front because I'm so annoying.
In a general sense, though, I think they do deserve it because they complained about my Paul video.
True.
Yeah. A lot of Spider-Man fans that I ever encounter are very miserable.
That's what I'm saying.
I won't deny that.
And this is what I brought up in my Paul video, my Spider-Man versus Paul video. I did get some shit for saying this, saying that I was in denial, I was coping, I was a shill for Marvel or whatever. But I'm like, okay, clearly voicing your kind of distaste for something you love. Like if a character you love has a bad storyline or is going in a bad direction, you should probably voice that and be like, this sucks. Because, I mean, it's your right as a person, as a human being on planet Earth, I guess. But also just like, you know, in the case of the Sonic trailer, right? Like people reacted badly to the poor Sonic design in the trailer. The studio listened, or did they really have was this all a publicity stunt? Whatever, who knows? But they changed the design. People were happy now, and people have brought up that scenario to me, saying like, how can you be so complacent with Spider-Man editorial, and how can you just say like, oh, let's just be happy for what we got, like you fucking shill, you know. And I'm like, okay, maybe the Sonic thing isn't the best analogy, because people are acting like this Paul thing and the recent like Zeb Wells Spider-Man stuff is a new thing, and that if we just complain or if we vote with our wallets or whatever, then it's gonna change and we'll get back to Spider-Man and MJ being together, and he's gonna get on with his life, and it's gonna be, you know, fucking peak cinema, all that. But like, I feel like a more appropriate analogy, and I was saying it to you guys before this podcast, it's not like the Sonic trailer. It's more like if they released the Sonic trailer 15 years ago in like 2008 or whatever, I don't know how long that was. If they released the Sonic trailer like 15, 20 years ago, and the design sucked, and people were like, this sucks, this fucking sucks, change that shit now. And they were complaining, and they were sending death threats to the designers and everything, and then the movie came out and they didn't change it. And then they made another movie, and they still didn't change it. And then they made Sonic movies for 15 years with that same design. And after like the 15th year, and like the 9th, 10th movie or whatever with this shitty Sonic design, people were still complaining and sending death threats to the creators and all that, and they were going, this sucks, guys, have you seen the new Sonic film with this fucking terrible design, right? At a certain point, you gotta accept it's not changing.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening, alright? I feel like for your sake, you should just realize this is like the thing of the picture of the guy pushing a boulder up a hill like infinitely. It's like, come on, we have this good stuff, right? We have Ultimate Spider-Man. You can't even vote with your wallet, okay? You can't, like, if Ultimate Spider-Man does really well and people stop buying Amazing Spider-Man and the Paul run goes in the trash, right? They don't care. They truly don't care. It's not a monetary thing. It's so clearly just a personal mandate made by the higher-ups in Marvel who grew up with Gwen Stacy and grew up with the, kind of 70s Peter Parker being a player and whatever, and they clearly just do not... This kind of vitriol, like, from the fans being like, fuck you, get MJ back together, this sucks, it just fuels their kind of personal mandate of being like, you know what, screw you ungrateful brats, we're gonna break him up, we're gonna have this guy called Paul, we're gonna have Peter say that MJ is like a sister to him or whatever, right? Like, they truly don't care, and at a certain point you do kind of have to take a step back and be like, you know what, it's not that deep, right? Yeah. Maybe Paul is kind of funny. It's kind of just hilarious what they're doing with him and how
it's so fucking heinous that it's
and because of the reaction to my video being like, is this a pro Paul video, like, oh, you're just coping, and not seeing what I was trying to do, not seeing that I was kind of reading the terrain of that we've been complaining about this thing for like 20 years or whatever.
Is that a fucking picture of me photoshopped onto Wilson Fisk?
Oh, here we go again. Great.
Sorry. That blew me.
Oh
my god. I'm sorry.
Because oh fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Honestly, I feel like I do.
Are we still talking about Spider-Man fans? Or are we talking about this?
I'm talking about. I was gonna say something about Spider-Man fans, but I forgot. What
before anything,
I was doing. Wait,
I was gonna say that like. I appreciate Paul even more now, and I think that it's deserved that like Paul is now like in the Venom comics, and like he's like also connected with like the fucking Venom, like, and MJ being Venom, genius. And like at group therapy and all that fucking bullshit.
It's like this. It's like just this like mind worm that has not was. You could argue it was intentional, or they accidentally created this character that's just so hated. Because some people, like some storytellers, would kill to be able to make a character that's universally hated, and for people to cheer on his death and then to exploit that later. But like,
the artist literally will like go on Instagram. The artist will literally go on Instagram and be like,
he hates,
but I have a man bun. Why don't they love me or whatever?
The artist of All New Venom.
Yeah,
who
fucking hates
goes on
him.
Instagram. He's like, what? He's the first like Marvel creator to go on like publicly and be like, yeah, like they're making me draw Paul and I hate it. It's like fucking like awesome. I'm like a slave to Paul.
Well, yeah,
I hate him.
You were saying earlier how like people don't understand what you were trying to say about Paul. I do think we live in an era of media illiteracy where like
nuance is dead, blah blah blah.
Like you will see anything come out, and now that we're on the internet and like people have more of a voice to be able to say whatever they want, I feel like more now than back in the day, people who don't understand like very clear, obvious messaging are easier to pick up on your radar. Because anybody can go make it. Any dumbass can go leave a YouTube comment and be like, Alex Lennon is the #1 Paul fan. He probably has a Paul T-shirt in his fucking closet.
He has a Paul shrine.
Yeah, I feel like that's I feel like that's the world we live in now with like the internet and shit.
Yeah,
and Spider-Man fans, it's such a big place, so I feel like there are a lot more dummies.
Yeah, what I was trying to do though was like. I was clearly being like, okay, we've complained about this for so long. I have made videos complaining about this. I bring it up in practically every other video of like, Joe Quesada, he ruined Spider-Man, and he ruined my Peter and MJ he ruined my OTP, right? Yeah, and it's literally, and it's like, it gets to a point where it's like, oh, I'm so tired of this, right? It's cope. Okay, it's about things aren't going to get better in terms of mainline Spider-Man, but can we just pull ourselves out of that? And just, like, we've got Ultimate Spider-Man, it's clear that from the pattern of recent stories where you have Renew Your Vows and Ultimate Spider-Man and the DeMatteis stuff, it's clear there's always going to be a place for this kind of stuff. They're always going to have a married Spider-Man, alternate universe, or whatever, right? There will be good stuff. Can we just focus on that, maybe? And even if that doesn't work, like, if it doesn't put pressure on their finances, right? Because, like, as we were saying earlier, like, Amazing Spider-Man doesn't need to sell that well. Right? It is their flagship title, but like, if it's just doing mid for like the next 10 years, no one cares. Marvel, they make so much money through movies, merchandise, TV shows, cartoons, whatever. Comics isn't their big like money, it's not their big cash cow, right? So they really don't care. they're probably not this reaction to the new Ultimate series where everyone's buying Ultimate and no one's buying Amazing Spider. Like, they truly don't care. Like I say, it's a very personal thing. So like, that's not, when I say that, it's not me being like, well guys, we just have to learn to live with Marvel, because actually they're pretty good guys, like this isn't like I'm not trying to be complacent. I'm just being like, at a certain point, it is a Spider-Man comic for kids and teenagers, right? Like, or primarily aimed at that demographic. Maybe it's not that deep. I do know what you're saying though, where it's like, it's easy to see like brain dead comments like that just completely. I mean, YouTube comments. That's where nuance goes to die. Obviously, like, people like when you're on YouTube and you're watching videos, right? You as just a regular viewer, you're rarely going to comment, right?
Yeah.
There has to be something that provokes you to comment, and usually that would be a strong reaction, right? So if someone says something in a video that you like staunchly disagree with, you're gonna then pick up your keyboard and type
go to town
an
on
angry
that thing.
comment or whatever, right? Like, if you think the video was pretty good, yeah, it was, or even that was really good, yeah, or like, oh, that was fine, you're not gonna comment, right? And from a YouTuber's perspective, they're not gonna even see your reaction, right?
No.
All they're going to see is the people who have strong feelings about their stuff, either way, being like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen, which won't be true, or then, this is the worst thing ever, you're pro Paul, you're a shill, whatever, which again isn't true.
Well, you know what, there was a time where I used to believe that like YouTube comments were the worst place on the internet, but I think it's easier to find Klansmen on Twitter now.
Oh god, yeah. I think that kind of a natural segue into our, I think, one of our last topics, or
one of the greatest
topic, which is the worst / funniest / notable whatever comments we've got on YouTube.
Oh my goodness!
I know you prepared some.
I popped one off at the beginning of the podcast where there was some poor kid in your comments talking about how it hit hard as a child of divorce.
Oh yeah, in my Spider-Man versus Paul video.
Dude, you're making some poor 10-year-old child bawl his eyes out because you're saying Paul is so great.
Dude,
I feel so bad. I'm laughing at this random fucking kid.
I genuinely wonder if I can I don't have a comment, but I have an email that I got maybe a year ago. Let me see. It was like along the lines of, "Hey, I love your videos, but your fucking dubs suck ass. Never do them again."
No.
Let me.
What if he
find
was
it.
talking about me? Oh wait, well, because I don't think I knew you a year ago, did I, Mullet?
Wait.
I don't think our friendship has lasted a year yet, guys.
It was like July, I think, when we met.
Yeah, we're not there yet. I think we're at like the 10-month mark.
R.I.P. to the GOAT.
I got one on my Mr. Bean could kill Superman video, which
Let's
is
hear it.
clearly just a bullshit video. It's absolutely nothing. And I found a person who took it very, very seriously, and it really offended them, as a fan of Mr. Bean or Superman or whoever. And they said, first off, put the microphone down, get a bloody boom. Hell, a broom would do. I don't even know what that means. And then he just systematically goes over every single point I make, with an extremely detailed counterpoint. I won't go over all of it because it's a lot.
Yeah, bitch.
You say you can't kill an idea, because I'm saying you can't kill an idea of Mr. Bean, right? He's spiritually immortal. He says, you can't kill an idea? Wow. I'll quote Ricky Gervais on this one. If you took every book and record of every religion and destroyed it 1,000 years ago, those religions would never return as the same.
Jesus.
Besides,
I feel bad for this guy.
And he said, besides, this part is actually just a good example of your bias towards getting the result you want peeking through. Mr. Bean is just a dude. But Superman is in the dictionary. The idea of Superman has existed long before there ever was a Mr. Bean.
Was he talking about the Ubermensch?
To be honest, I think so.
Is this guy a Snyder fan? I think this guy is a Snyder fan. This is the only way you could find a Superman fan so angry about this, is if he's one of those dumbass Snyder fans.
But he says, like I say though, this is a sign of your own personal bias towards getting the answer you want. You clearly set out with the intent of making this video with a specific result that has led to you twisting and squeezing multiple characteristics and variables to fit. And your fight fails. This is talking about the kind of like pseudo death battle I did, where they actually fight and it's like kind of animated. Your fight fails. I mean, let's ignore the bullshit that was boring the ever-living fuck out of me. You said earlier that Mr. Bean doesn't have control over his psychokinesis, yet you have him activating it during the fight. Yeah, no. Don't set the attributes before the fight if you're not going to use them. Oh, and they're floating in space now? Huh? Did Mr. Bean manage to stay underwater in the pool forever? No, he didn't. Why? Because he can't breathe, you dumbass. Pay attention. When he goes into space, he dies. End of fight. No wonder you haven't been scooped up by Death Battle or any other fan fight organization. Anyway, back to the fight. Mr. Bean monologuing about how he's never had a job, except, well, because this is the bit towards the end where I do like a kind of bullshit, touchy-feely, Mr. Bean has never been accepted by society, right? It's his big monologue, which is then cut off by like a fish hitting him, and it's fucking bullshit, right? Because, yeah, well, Mr. Bean monologuing about how he's never had a job, except when he was working as a security guard for a museum. And you say he's never had any friends? Well, except his girlfriend and the two guys who came to his party, and the family he met in America. You say he always felt like an outsider? Despite being very outgoing, joining numerous clubs, and having many hobbies, and even meeting the Queen, for fuck's sake. You said earlier in the video he does what he wants regardless of who or what is in his way. You are so goddamn inconsistent. You know what? I wish I'd skipped to the end. Not even to just the end of the video, I mean all the way to the end. I don't even know what that means. No.
Does he mean to the end of his life?
Oh god.
I want to kill myself because of your Mr. Bean video.
I don't have like any fucking hate comments that are like this like involved. To like, holy, I'm looking.
Here's my question.
The end is the best. The end is the best part, right? No, I actually watched this entire video. I watched you fumble your way through so many inconsistencies, flubs, and failures. I watched it all and didn't even laugh once.
Oh,
I didn't go,
goodness.
Interesting. I didn't smile. I didn't agree with you on anything. This has been a horrible travesty of a video that I wish I'd never seen. So yeah, fuck yourself.
Okay, so does he know the video is a joke or not? Do you think his reality would shatter if you told him it was?
I think he genuinely thought I was putting together a solid, well thought through, authentic argument about how Mr. Bean could kill Superman in a fight. Like,
I feel bad for this guy. Like, he's so pissed off that he... Because there's no way he's doing this for the meme. Like, I've refused to believe that this is a bit for this guy behind the screen. That is genuine anger. Who is this guy?
If it was a bit, fair play. That's like a master satire.
Well, Comics Explain's latest video is called Marvel's Most Overpowered Superhero.
Who is it? Is it the most overpowered superhero?
It's like, we want to round it off here.
Like,
we gotta have like a proper ending.
You know, say that you love your parents for us. Don't gamble your grocery money away and then come home to an empty fridge because your kids need food. Always have rent money. Go buy a comic.
You say this as if the median age of the Unlistenables viewer base isn't like 13.
I'm saying this because like my girlfriend put me onto this like guy that like gambles away like practically everything he has like to like make big. Like he gambled away his fucking braces the other day. And I'm just like, that was the first thing that came to mind when reaching a conclusion was like, don't gamble like at all, because you need to feed yourself and your kids. But yeah, that's my sign off.
No, be a villain to your kids, bro. Smack your kids up and down the head. Fucking throw them down the stairs.
If you want to be a YouTuber, do your own thing. Don't just like watch what people are doing that like is doing well and then like fail at it. Like when you try to do it.
Copy Mullet Man Comics. Copy him. Take every video off his channel and put an AI voice on it.
Like is
put it in Spanish.
Pet peeve. Yeah, no. I honestly, like I'm not even angry about that. Like because they're putting it in Spanish. That's a good.
They are doing a service.
Yeah, like that's a good idea. I should start doing that.
Is it?
I'll make Mullet Man
Isn't that the question of the day?
Isn't that the question?
Can we end?
We didn't even do it
this?
like that.
Can we end the Can we end the podcast? With
Yeah.
us all saying, "Isn't that the question of the day?"
Isn't that the question of the day?
Hold up. Let's do it. Let's do it at the same time. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Isn't that the question
of the day? Wait,
You
no,
late ass motherfucker.
One more time.
I can sync that. I
One
can
more
sync
time.
it. Wait.
All right,
All right, 3,
2,
2,
1.
1.
Isn't that the question of the day? Bro, y'all are so late, bro. Only I'm
What do
on
you
that
mean?
Harry Osborn game, bro.
Okay. Let's, one more time. Third time
right.
lucky. All right, 3. Wait, we can sync this up with the clock.
Oh,
As soon as it hits, as soon as the minute changes, it's currently 07, right?
yep.
Yeah.
As soon as it hits
507.
08, so it currently hits, that's 20 seconds. As soon as it hits 08, we're going, isn't that the question of the day?
What if I just don't say it at all?
10 seconds.
Isn't that the question of the
Isn't
day?
that the question?
Oh, fuck, my clock is late. God damn it.
Right, we'll end it there.
Isn't that the question of the day?